Thanks to Matthew Brady, pictured here, and many other photographers, the Civil War was brought to life, and it was one of the first conflicts for the general public to actually learn of its horrors firsthand with their own eyes. Pictured here is a very young Washington, D.C. We can see the Capitol building being constructed in the background. This would eventually get finished during the war, but it obviously looks a lot different than it does today. So coming up in this next photo, we have some of the aftermath of the Battle of Antietam. Soldiers were literally killed in the lines they were fighting in and fell side by side. This is 1862 Battle of Antietam, and that's the Dunkard Church in the background there. We also have another photograph, very famous photograph of Confederate soldiers that had fallen fighting on the Hagerstown Road during the Battle of Antietam. This all happened on the same day, bloodiest day in American history. So, coming up on our next photo, this is from the Second Battle of Fredericksburg at the base of Marye's Heights. These are fallen Confederate soldiers who were fighting behind that stone wall that had fairly easily been held the first time. There was a much smaller force defending this time, and the Union forces did take Marye's Heights. So, this photo, we have a picture of what was recovered of the remains of some Union soldiers from the aftermath of Cold Harbor. This photo was taken in April of 1865. This was many, many months after the Battle of Cold Harbor. As you can see, the remains are very decomposed, but they still needed to go in and recover them and give those men the respect and honor they deserve for what they did for their country. So it wasn't just human beings who suffered. This is a photo of horses who fell during the Battle of Gettysburg. And this was unfortunately an all too common sight at the end of a major Civil War battle. Not only was this a large loss of animal life, but it also added to just the overwhelming stench this war created wherever it went. You couldn't escape it. Speaking of smells, up next we have a photo of Andersonville Prison. It's the debatably most notorious prison of the entire war. It was a Confederate prison camp where tens of thousands of Union soldiers lost their lives due to the living conditions and lack of food during their stay at Andersonville. Many of them became ill, and there was no medical treatment. The Confederate doctors were quite busy in the field with the armies, so you can see these Union soldiers all crammed into this small space, basically fighting to survive, fighting for food, fighting for water. These men who were their comrades in the field, they had to compete against each other for survival. So, this last photo we are going to take a look at is from President Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession. Now, this particular photo was taken in the streets of Philadelphia. His funeral procession lasted for 2 weeks and hit just about every major city you could think of in the northern states. This was a tragedy unlike anything the country had experienced up to this point, not just because a president was killed by an assassin's bullet. But because of what this man had to go through during the Civil War, no other president up to that point in time had to fight to keep his country together. So Lincoln, once he passed away, he entered almost a mythological state in a lot of people's minds throughout the North. Still very much demonized in the South. That would take a lot of time to recover from. That was not Lincoln's plan. He intended on getting the southern states back into the Union and having them a part of the country again, and having them play a part in the politics of our country. Unfortunately, we will never know what that looked like. Thanks for taking a look at these photos today with me. I hope you got some information. I hope you enjoyed the video. We are going to try and continue to put out more Civil War themed videos just to give you some basic facts and information if it's something you're interested in. We are by no means going to try and give you a collegiate level education on it. We just want to make people aware of how important this event was. So by all means, do your own research. Take a look at all the Civil War photos that are out there from the time period. And until then, we'll see you next time.